Call the meeting to order. The Geneva Plan Commission meetings are now live streamed and recorded. Your participation in the meeting is your consent to the recording and rebroadcasting of the meeting on the town's YouTube channel. Roll call. Commission members Arlen Mitchell, James Buckingham, Rob Johnson, Tammy Holdell, Lynn Burry, Kevin Huffman, Mark Wynn, and Dave Bumgarner are present. Absence is Steve Kuhn. The first order of business is reorganization of the Plan Commission. I'll accept a nomination for president at this time from someone. We have nominations for president.
No. I'll nominate you to stay as president.
I have a nomination. Do I have a second?
Second?
Do I have any additional nominations for president? Second call. Do I have any additional nominations for president? Third and final call. Do I have any additional nominations for president? Nominations for president are closed. All in favor of me retaining the office as president, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I also need a vice president. I'll accept nominations for vice president. He's no longer here,
Okay.
so we need to fill that office.
I'll nominate Arlen Mitchell.
Harlan? Do I have a second?
Second?
Do I have any additional nominations for vice president? Second call, do I have any additional nominations for president, vice president, excuse me? Third and final call, do I have any additional nominations for vice president? Nominations for vice president are closed. All in favor of approving Arlen as vice president, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now I need a secretary for somebody to take the notes. I'll entertain a nomination for secretary.
Do you do that?
No.
Who doesn't know?
I think that person is no longer on the board either.
I think that was
It's been a
Chris.
while since we had a meeting.
I think that was Chris.
Chris?
I think that's who it was. I got piss poor handwriting. You don't want me to write nothing.
Do I have nominations for secretary? Harlan
Second.
nominates Jim Buckingham, and it's been seconded. See how this works, Joe?
Can you dissent?
Are there any additional nominations for secretary? Second call, are there any additional nominations for secretary? Third and final call, are there additional nominations for secretary? If not, the nominations are closed. All in favor of Jim being the secretary, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Jim, you gotta take notes now.
Have a pen?
There was
And
one in
paper.
front of you, here. There's the pen. Here's the paper.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get with you with the other thing, and you can always review the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think that was nice.
You can also review the YouTube channel to get anything you might have missed. The reason for the hearing. I've put a little spiel together here. There's been an ongoing project for well over 2 years. A committee sanctioned by the previous town council consisted of Geneva Town Council member at that time, Marvin Schwartz, a representative from the fringe area was Steve Kuhn. 2 property owners that lived in the area in discussion was Russ Flickinger and myself, Lynn Burry. At that time, legal counsel, Dave Bumgarner and Mark Wynn from the Adams County Building Office. We met on a regular basis, so we did a pretty good job, I think, of advertising the meetings. The doors were always open. We went through what we have is a 1969 ordinance that is being reworked. In January 2025, after the 2024 election, Marvin and Lynn switched positions, with Marvin no longer being on council. There is a proposal, this is a proposal the committee is presenting to the Plan Commission for consideration. It needs to be discussed and questions answered in a public forum for consideration and possible approval for the Plan Commission. This recommendation would then be sent to the town council for final approval. A statutory public hearing where citizens can express concerns and ask questions is why we're here tonight. Then the plan commission can give consideration to that input as they further progress through the approval of the proposed ordinance and maps. This is not necessarily a time for dialogue, but a time to input from the community. After the public hearing is closed tonight, the commission can have further discussion. The plan commission will have one more meeting before which it can take in more to digest a proposal in light of the comments from the public hearing. At that meeting, if all is agreed, the plan commission can then take action. If the proposal is approved by the commission, it goes to the town council with the plan commission's recommendation for approval. We realize this process takes time, but no one wants this to be rammed through. It's a thorough progress, and public comment is paramount. We want to remind people, like all ordinances, it may be needed to be amended in the future. But this is far, far better than the existing 1967 ordinance, now 59 years old. It is needed for the continued growth of the town of Geneva. Let's not miss the forest for the trees. With that, I open the public hearing. We have plenty of citizens out there. Are any of them wanting to ask questions, have comments? If so, please step up to the podium, identify yourself, and make your comments. Who wants to be first?
Good evening. My name's Larry Brandstetter, and I'm kind of a representative, I guess, for the people of Sealand. And I'm here tonight we've got a question to ask. And I think Mr. Burry and whoever Mr. Baumgartner is, that's you. You had a phone call today, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. The rest of you, if they don't know about it, Mr. Blake Fichter, was it, called you?
Correct.
We had a question about annexation. And it's been haggled over before, I think way back in 1992. And we was wondering about whether that's going to happen again with all this rezoning and all this sort of thing. And I guess he asked the question just point blank to both of you. Is this going to be an annexation?
No. The only thing that Sealand has in it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, is they will continue being under the umbrella of this ordinance by virtue of being in the fringe area. That's their only.
What does that mean?
Zoning, if you have a zoning request, you need to change your zoning, or you want to rezone something in Sealand, and you have to go through a process involving the Geneva Plan Commission and or BZA.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with annexation.
No.
What I want to read you a scripture out of the Bible that talks about landmarks. Okay, it says in Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 14. It says, "Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it." Are you familiar with that law, sir?
I am. I had an
Would
old
you
time farmer.
Would you uphold that law? So what I'm getting at is rezoning, remapping, and all these words that were used in that paragraph that you mentioned. Doesn't that concern moving landmarks?
Not necessarily.
No, no marks are being moved.
What?
Will they be moved?
Let me give you an example of why the BZA just recently got involved with a home in Sealand. Robbie Molenkamp is remodeling that home along
I know where you mean. I don't want to
Covered
cover
Bridge
Bridge
Road out
yeah.
there, and they wanted to put a new porch on the front end, which extended into the setback area. The Board of Zoning Appeals, he petitioned the Board of Zoning Appeals to have that relaxed so he could put that porch on the front of his house that would fall within the limit of that. So we approved that. Those are the kind of things that
So that's not changing the landmark.
no,
the landmarks that this is talking about is like property lines, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So to answer, I guess, the question about the annexation and the question about landmarks and rezoning and planning and mapping and all that stuff, those are both no, right? I mean, your zoning and remapping and all that is not going to affect any landmarks or any property lines concerning our area, which is all laid out.
I think maybe the Amish school
Huh?
that was built out there on Covered Bridge Road,
Right there with the
something like
bridge. Yeah,
that.
I know where you mean.
When that one Amish gentleman put a new barn in that, there on the, just next to the school,
Yeah.
that required some, variances because of setbacks.
So
Those are the kind of things
that's
that didn't
included-
change property lines.
that's included in the map of Sealand, right?
Yeah, those kind of things are already pretty much covered by.
Those are already in the fringe area that was set up in
So
about the
this
1970s.
rezoning and all this remapping and everything, can you be more specific on just what this incurs? In other words, I've asked the question about, is it going to change property lines, which the Bible calls landmarks, but it's still property lines. You agree with that?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe I can show you on this map here, this is like the fringe area you're talking about. This map right here shows the current fringe area in the lighter shade. To the east, it goes out through the middle of a bunch of farm fields. It was just extended out to 000 and then goes up to the river and follows the line around to County Road 200 West and back down to the county line. That is where this zoning ordinance, if passed, will control different things. If somebody wanted to come in with a CAFO or something like that, they would have to answer, because some of them things are not like that. If they want to build a certain size of building or something like that, if somebody wants to put a subdivision in, which Mark gets an awful lot of them, because they want to split the properties up into smaller sizes. Those are the kind of things that these ordinances cover. It doesn't change existing unless somebody requests it.
So the answers to both of my questions, and nothing is going to be annexed, Sealand, and our property lines will stay where they are. No, is that right? Is that correct?
Unless one of the property owners wants to change something.
Okay, so is that in the record? Is it sealed?
Yeah, the zoning ordinance has to do with usage, not boundary lines.
Okay. So are there going to be any kind of, what I want to say, are we going to be still, I can't find the word I want. Are we going to be under any kind of a restriction, like we can burn out there, like in our yard, we can have burn pits, in the town you can't? Is there going to be any kind of restrictions put on us through any of this rezoning and all that kind of stuff?
The fringe area would be an AR zone.
What's
Right
that?
now- Right now, it's an ag zone,
What's that?
an agricultural zone, and there are already things that you can do in the fringe area and things that you can't do in the fringe area. That won't change. And as to what you can do, there are some minor changes, I believe, in the AR, but
like
not
what?
much.
Yeah.
We'd have to look. Let me find the AR.
Low intensity residential fringe, single family, 2-family, mobile family, manufactured home subdivision, manufactured home park, those kind of things.
So it talks about permitted uses within the AR district, and the fringe is all AR district.
That's agricultural, right?
Well, AR is low intensity residential, and it's the fringe area. These are the things that you can do there. You can have accessory buildings, structures, agricultural uses. You can have common areas like clubhouses, neighborhood centers, swimming pools, tennis courts, assembly and recreation areas. You can have group residential facilities, you can have model homes, you can have riding stables and residential, you can have single-family dwellings, you can have universally permitted uses from the AR zone. Wind energy and solar, those are tied to whatever the Adams County zoning does. So
So we're,
then someone, if they want special uses, they can come to the Board of Zoning Appeals and ask for special uses. Those include accessory buildings where there's a conversion of an accessory building to a single-family residence. An accessory building where it's the primary building on at least 5 acres, an airstrip, bed and breakfast, boarding houses, childcare, community gardens, country club.
wow.
There are 33 of them, of special uses that can be there. So, yeah,
On those maps, where is the boundaries of Sealand right now? Is that the red area, the blue area, the gray area? Where are we at in that right now?
You are up here towards the top.
That little gray area up top there, the
Olive
red?
gray and these little streets right here.
Is there any, place in Sealand right now that would be residential rather than agricultural?
They're all residential.
The whole thing is residential? Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as tax revenues or anything like that, that's not gonna change, right?
Nope.
Okay.
This this ordinance has nothing to do with that.
Okay. I thank you for your time, and I also want to publicly thank Mr. Blake Feaker. I know you guys know him. I didn't know him till we just got involved in this, and he's been a great help for me because I didn't know what the heck to do. And I'm glad you answered my questions, and I just want to know would it be possible for you to send me a copy of the minutes so I could show the people out there that this is not going to happen? There's not going to be no annexation. There's not going to be no change in boundaries, or like the landmarks, it's not going to change, correct?
If they have internet access, they can go on the Geneva Town Hall's website.
If
and
they're
access the
computer
meetings there.
literate like me, they probably can't
If
do
if they
that.
don't, what I have here, Larry, is I have a sign up sheet for people after the meeting. If they have an email address or they want a hard copy of something mailed, if they could
So
put the
you
name
got-
down here.
I need to sign that then?
After the meeting, yeah, just
Okay.
put that on there and we'll make sure you get a copy of that.
Okay,
Stuff is also available in the office at the town hall here. Like the maps, there's a copy of the maps up in front. These maps are that
okay.
are hard mounted here. There's also a copy of the ordinance and the maps at the library. So you can
Okay.
go look at them there and.
I just want to make, the maps, I don't concern me as much as what the answers to those questions were. That's why I'm here, because people out there wanted to know, and I thought we'd have more representation today, but you know how that goes, so.
I knew from Mr. Fichter's conversation that was gonna be the number one concern is annexation. And
Well, I'm glad that he called you, and I'm glad I got to meet you guys and to talk with you, and I just thank you so much. for being
I would just want to mention, this committee here, this board here, can't say that there will never be an annexation. This proposal has nothing to do with annexation, but we can't talk for the planning
But it's
commission for
but-
20 years from now.
Yeah, but it's on record what you did.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, appreciate
I
it.
got one, well, this ordinance is pertains for usage, but boundaries could be changed by survey. If somebody changes property
Yeah, but
and then by a survey,
that's correct.
possible.
That's nothing that this does.
no, nothing
Yeah.
pertaining to this, but I didn't want him to say that's never going to change because surveys do change property lines, as you know, out in the country.
GIS is not always that accurate.
Sounds like this could be to their advantage,
Yeah.
prevent anything goofy out there happening.
Yeah.
You don't approve of it. Am I correct on that?
Is there anyone else in the audience that has comments or questions? Come on up.
I've been living out in Sealand for about
Your name, please, for,
35
your name for the your name for the record, please.
Terry here.
Thank you.
You guys have treated me well. The town has given me when I wanted to put a market in, we had it for over 35 years to sell produce and stuff. And I got a variance for seafood off of, I had a farm on the Gulf of Mexico where I bring my plants up here and plant them, and then we pick them right there, agriculture on the. So about 2 or 3 years ago, I sold the peach over, and it was just before the COVID come along, and he couldn't get to the offices like he wanted to, so he started tearing the buildings down. His promise to me was he's going to bring the market there. And what happened was, after he tore it down, he had it zoned, I think, to small business. And now it's gonna cost him over a few $1,000s to have it, because it'll be small business, and I don't know how the zoning has changed on, he can't put another market there. Well, when I started out there, I had the same thing. Everybody in Sealand came to me and said, well, we don't want you out there with a market. And eventually you guys gave me the okay to go ahead because it was agricultural property, 1 acre there next to me. And it worked out well, and I've developed some great friends. You guys have treated me well. I have absolutely no complaints. You guys are doing really good with the resources that you do have. The only thing that I'm concerned is, because we live on a little piece of heaven out there along the Greenway, I got a 3-wheel bike, and I'll tell you, that sure makes it good for me, and I can get around a little bit better. I'm also concerned about the zoning. If you go to Bern, their zoning and stuff, they have all kinds of restrictions and stuff. I just heard that they got something, a lot of people were bringing in, and this is my concern, bringing in RVs or camper trailers, parking in their yard for more than 2 days. Well, they passed another ordinance because they were part of the town of Bern, that they could only have there for 24 hours. No matter, where you came from, they had to go out to Amishville. Well, I'm concerned that we don't have a noise restriction. We don't have, we can burn openly. You're keeping the roads up really good out there. And I'm afraid we're gonna lose some of our rights if you annex us. What I mean? I guess that's one thing that's for me here tonight. I heard rumors that you guys are gonna dig up the ground and put all water lines in everybody. Whenever all of us have our wells out there, I pay a well payment on for houses out there. And never missed, and you guys have been fair with that too. I like it to stay country. And when the Amish folks, where they had their farm out there, had it was zoned for subdivision at one time. And they had a meeting about a year or so ago, you probably remember it, and they got it rezoned back to agriculture. And I came up to support them. They're good friends of mine. I bought a lot of produce from them. And the thing was, people don't want to come to Geneva or Bern and look at these nursing homes and apartment buildings. They want to come for the aesthetics of it. They want to come to see the Amish barns and the windmills and stuff. I've made, many friends, and you guys have supported it. My concern is we do not annex it and change the rules. I mean, I see we've got we always have rules, building zoning and all that. But it's a little piece of heaven. And when my place sold, Pete Shover bought it, and they were going to put in a produce stand. And then because it changed zoning and stuff, and costs got higher, he decided not to go that route. And I guess what I like the fact that we could have family gatherings and campfires right up and down the Greenway, all the way to the pool up in Bern, and the Greenway has been a great success too. So we were using the Greenway 40 years ago, but I'd like to keep it country. And when I was in business for 30-some years, the Amish, it's the 5th largest Amish settlement in the United States. And when they found out that I was swapping and trading, I mean, they would come out and sell baked goods at, on holidays. They walk away with over $1,000 in their pocket. You know what I used to charge them? An apple pie. You know what I mean? And they would bring stuff to me and we'd trade, and it was the best thing. And then when they built the Amish produce stand up there, that was a bonus too, you know? So we live in a little part of country, and the last thing I want to say is Sealand is a historical place. It was one of the first places other than Newport to be platted in 1890s, 1880s. Got the original plat. We live in my wife's great uncle's house, which raised 11 kids. And it's a historical thing. I was going to try to restore it. I'm still working on it. And I like to keep some historical old piece so that we can come out there and we don't have to worry about parent yards and everybody having to pay extra for water lines or, you know, there ain't that many people out there have sidewalks, you know, but we all get along pretty well. And the historic part of it is, it's good for tourism and it's always good for the market. We still have people come in on Sundays and use the facilities there with the Amish kids, you know, a line of them, 12 in a line with those street lane skates are going down the thing on Sundays, and the bathrooms and stuff are open. We kind of help, we kind of keep an eye on the bathrooms and stuff down there because we've had a couple of vandalism. You know about it, I kind of watch it. But people come there in the fall. My wife last year, people wanted pumpkins, so we just piled a big pile of them out there. And she sold over 1,000 pumpkins last year. People would come in on Sundays with their kids. They take the wagons out of their cars and they put the pumpkins and stuff in there. And it's just a part of country I don't think we can lose.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh,
Again, we can assure you zoning or annexation is not in the cards. And as far as I know, as far as expanding the water lines to the town of Geneva or the town of Sealand, there are no plans of council or anyone else that I'm aware of that's wanting to do that. If that were to happen, that changes the whole ballgame. And everybody's happy with the way things are, that doesn't need to change.
our tax base won't go up or anything.
Yep.
I thank you.
It'll remain the same. Well, I can't say that because I don't know what the county's gonna do,
Well, that's understandable.
or the state. I mean, we have no control over that.
Luckily, we got laws that take care of him and stuff like that, if that's important. I'm kind of a historian next to Schmitty out there, and like I said, there was 11 kids. That house never had electric or gas or anything in it back in the 1920s, and we started restoring. We took some of the tar paper and some of the newspapers underneath that cheap linoleum had Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor. And I think if we forget who they were, they alter who we are. So I guess that's all I got to say is I want to thank the town for all the help they give me, and everybody's happy, and I've made some of the best friends in the world out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Anyone else from the town or in the audience that wants to make a comment or has a question?
I missed.
Come up and identify yourself if you would, please.
Name is Isaiah Giels. Guess I didn't know about this about 5 minutes ago. So what is the annex for? What's the purpose of it?
There is no annexation. There is no annexation.
Nobody's annexing. So what are they?
So what's the meaning about that? That's
We
what I
are,
was-
we are introducing a new planning ordinance
Okay,
that regulates property use, land use, zoning, that type of thing. It's, the old ordinance is from 1967, it's 59 years old. It's time for it to be replaced. We spent 2 years drafting this ordinance. Dave did an awful lot of work on it. The committee did an awful lot of work on it. We had our hearings, our open meetings. It just regulates land use. Sealand is involved only because they live in what is called the fringe area, which is, it's, while you're part of the county, certain aspects of building and planning are regulated by Geneva Plan Commission. And that's all, tonight is just the introduction of that ordinance
Okay.
and getting public comments.
And how does that improve our lives down there?
It's gonna modernize, well, because there's stuff in that old ordinance that doesn't apply anymore. An awful lot of it.
That old ordinance, it's really antiquated, and what we did is, frankly, we took a look at other zoning ordinances from other communities, rather than try to change the existing ordinance. That would have been, it couldn't have been done. And so what we did is we actually found Woodburns and Hunter Towns are exactly the same. They were done by the same company, the consulting firm. We started with that one and drew from that and then made it Geneva. And so there was a lot of work to do that, but it's tailor-made. The structure is similar to those other communities, which are rural communities. That's what we were interested in.
Is it gonna affect, farm animals, livestock?
Not for you.
If, if there's a major dairy operation that wants to come in, then that's restricted under the zoning. It's restricted under the old, but it's gonna be restricted under the new a little bit more. But as to people in Sealand, no, it's not gonna affect it.
So I guess I've lived, well, I bought dad's place. I grew up there. Our lives have been great there. I don't see a point in changing anything. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's just a waste of taxpayer dollars. That's my opinion on it. It's not broke, don't fix it. Nobody there's bothered by the current situation. I'd say most of my neighbors are happy the way they are. So bringing in changes is not improving anybody's way of life just because they're old. The King James is old, but it's still a good book. Don't change it. Change it, then it's changing the truth. Change the way of life, change the way of life of people, and just wasting money. Just leave us alone. That's all we want.
Yeah.
Save yourselves 2 years of labor for nothing, and just leave it alone. That's all I got to say.
Thank
We're
you.
happy the way we are.
Thank you. I don't think you'll see much change. Anyone else? Pardon me?
The way it started. If there's not anything going to change, why waste the time, waste the money?
Why are laws changed every year? We could have a long discussion and for the need for change. Sometimes change is good. Sometimes change for the sake of change is not good. But we're just updating, bringing things up to the modern day. I mean, your cars have changed over the years. You still drive the car you drove back in the 50s.
I got a 93 Ford, so.
So, yeah, I mean,
It starts to run better in my 2012.
you're not, I think the people of the town of Sealand are really gonna be, life is normal. Life is usual.
I think, yeah.
Is there anybody else that wants to comment? We need to move on. Okay, come on up and introduce yourself.
You feel the same way?
Mhm.
Okay. Jared Cobb. I actually would like to know, what is the point? Like, what is going to be changed? Like, I see your guys' boards and like, this is run through zoning, correct?
Some of the changes are like residential has been upgraded to a little bit, you're changing the titles on some of them. Farmland used to be just strictly agricultural, now it's called an AR zone. Some of those are some of the things that are being updated. Doesn't change the use of the land, doesn't change the designation of the land, it just has a different title to it.
There are more restrictions within the town of Geneva, such as,
Of course.
there have been, some concerns about pole barns being built in town.
Mhm.
And so this addresses the size of those,
Okay, well,
things like that bring it up to date and will be beneficial, or at least I believe it would be beneficial to the citizens of the town of Geneva. As to Sealand, there aren't significant changes, if any, to affect that. But then also, that's probably one of the biggest ones. The other one has to do with signage. Probably one of the ones that you'd see is signage, how many new billboards can be put in town, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, there are reasons why it's brought up to date. Sealand may not want growth, but I think a lot of people in Geneva do want some growth, some controlled growth. This zoning is put in place to help encourage that growth.
okay, well, I can just say, from residing in Sealand for, what, 12, 13 years now? Building a pole barn, you can ask Mark Wenton, he inspected everything. And also owning a business in the city limits of Geneva. I've seen everything on every which direction. As far as I know, Sealand has nothing to do with what Geneva wants to do. Sealand, we all just kind of want to just be the way we are and be done. Now, Geneva, I get it, because I also have to deal with all that as well, in business here. But as I said, perfect. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're in the county. If he wants to put up a pole barn, he should be able to put up whatever size of pole barn he wants. I get it in town, I completely understand that. But as far as legitimately, we are in the county. Yes, we still have some sort of ordinance and the fringe and whatever. But voting restrictions, I think, is kind of ridiculous. I don't really understand. We're all here from Sealand. What does you guys changing things in Geneva have to affect us? Like, why? We're outside of the city limits. Unless you're proposing to put us in the city limits, you're not planning on doing that, then why bring Sealand into context?
To answer that, the present zoning ordinance does not have a separate designation for the fringe. So technically,
I'm sorry for, I want to point this out, okay? So I live next door to Larry Branson, Larry and Mary, okay? We are R1, as well as the 4 properties that are on that block, which is Heibelman, Larry, me, and they actually consider that a housing addition. Well, I asked the county, where's my cul-de-sac? So those things I believe need to be changed. But we're not trying to have, 50 cows here. We're already zoned R1. I wish Jim and Karen Fallston were here because they own a large property around the corner and no one will allow them to resurvey and get rid of all the lots. There's 16 lots. He has to pay 16 bills. Why? Vicky Harvey did. She got rid of all of that. Hell, there was a whole entire cul-de-sac. A part of it resurveyed. It was done. Now it's back to A1, like Terry said. So I'm just trying to understand what is the big deal with all this? Why do we have to think about everything is changing?
I think we just said things aren't changing.
Well, we're all here because things are changing. To some sort of fashion, I mean.
What were to happen if for some reason, the properties change hands in your area? And that nice little 4 lot area you have, someone comes in and they make you an offer you can't refuse, and they're sold to another entity. And then this entity wants to come in there and all of a sudden decides he wants to build a 25-story building.
Well, I completely understand
This
that.
kind of stuff protects that.
Well, I wish there was somebody here for you to tell them that.
This, this ordinance with an AR designation for all the fringe actually protects Sealand more than the present ordinance does. Because the present ordinance does not have the same kind of restrictions for the fringe. It's just open ag. So, yeah, you're still ag, you're still agricultural use. You're still not held to the same standards as people within the town of Geneva, but there's more certainty that you don't have right now. You don't know you don't have it, but you don't have it.
Well, I guess I just know that there's never been allowed a business to operate in Sealand. I know, first and foremost. Bowling camps, they were never allowed to. So that part of it is always stood as far as that part. And there's never been a business that's been allowed in Sealand to operate. A1, well, that's A1. All the rest of the properties are R1. So, like Isaiah said, it ain't broke though. That's where I'm.
Hey, Jared, what's your last name again? I didn't understand.
Cobb, COBB.
COBB?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Anyone else? Sure, you can ask a question.
And I don't have all these questions because I'm writing my notes. I am Agnes Schock, and I'm hearing and learning things I didn't know. So going question, which Mr. Cobb just said, I think I heard you say that Sealand will become, it's in the fringe, it'll be AR, not R1? If they're R1 now, do they stay R1?
It's whatever is R1 now, it's a new designation of residential. But it still stays residential. There's conversion on page
17 or 16,
let me find it here. 14.
14.
On page 14, there's conversion. So A agricultural zone ends up being AR, low intensity residential district. R1 becomes R1, single family residential district.
So
it still stays R1,
So they can
residential.
still be residential, but they're in an AR.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
their residential rights are still there.
Right.
Okay. So that's good. That's good. One of my questions in looking at this, okay, we're enlarging the fringe area, at least at the bottom map there. It doesn't look like we changed anything at the top.
Let me address that. The fringe area is being proposed to be enlarged. That's through the county. The county hasn't dealt with that at all. It's only been talked at the county level once. That's a far cry from being done.
So it's not technically Geneva's fringe area that we have any control over.
There's presently a fringe area, but
This
the
one.
county has just started discussions about changing the fringe in Geneva, changing the fringe in Bern. Monroe doesn't have one and they might want one. Decatur doesn't have one and might want one. And so the county's just starting to talk about those fringe
I've been
areas.
reading some of that. What is the benefit of some of us municipalities adding a fringe area versus not having one? What's the benefit to do a fringe area?
The idea is that when there are agricultural areas that are that close to a municipality, that things that they do within, that what they can do within that agricultural area can highly affect more people living in the communities. And so that's why the state of Indiana says, way back in the 70s, they said that you can designate fringe areas. And so, like I said, Geneva and Bern back in the 70s ended up having fringe areas. So I don't know about Geneva's. I'm not sure about Geneva's. Are you contracting some fringe also?
No, the only area that's changing is on the east side here, we're expanding. Right now, this is the existing line. It goes down the middle of quite a few farm fields. There's no real delineated line as to where it's at without doing a survey. All we're doing is moving it about a quarter of a mile or so to the east to use 000 as a reference line. That's all that's being added as far as the fringe area.
And again, that's just a proposal that the county has to deal with.
So the idea of it would be to be able to have a little bit more control over some possible facilities that might inhibit more people.
Absolutely.
Okay. Am I saying?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So this comes up a lot, and I have an example. So Decatur never had a friend. And to this day, something happened there that shouldn't happen, and it's kind of hamstrung a little bit. So where the industrial park is, in the middle of town, it's heading west towards Thunderbird, and everything that's south of Thunderbird. That was all in the city. And then somebody proposed a home addition on the west side where that should have kept growing, okay? That happened in the county. So somebody comes to the, not this before me, but somebody went to the county building, applied for a big subdivision, went through the county planning commission, gave her nothing. Zero. And if they were involved or been in the fringe, it was in front of them, and then they went, wait a minute, that's where our industrial park needs to keep growing to the west. They lost that.
So they could have collaborated together.
They could have collaborated and it didn't happen. So if you have a little bit of fringe, that kind of thing wouldn't happen.
So having the fringe, the county still has some control to it. It just doesn't become control of like our zoning.
Yeah.
Because it's our fringe.
If it's in the fringe, if anything that gets built inside of the fringe area, I come here, I mean, even if I gave a permit out for just building a house in the middle of nowhere, out in the country, it's still a Geneva permit, not a county permit.
Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know.
Yep.
All right, thank you. One thing I saw, our old ordinance had a park recreation zone. Our new one doesn't. So where does this park area fit in to the zoning we're proposing? I didn't see it anywhere, but I haven't read all 300 pages.
No, there's not a separate zone for parks. Parks can be anywhere, really.
Okay.
The parks are wherever, the public parks are wherever the city decides, the town decides to put those parks.
They don't have to be a zoned
They
area.
don't have to be a zoned area.
Okay, right.
I think, and again, that would have probably been something that in years past, they wanted a certain zone for a park. But now they want to promote parks.
Right. Well, it seems like if there's zoning for a park, then it says what you can do for a park, but not
No,
necessarily.
No,
Okay.
that, if it is a community municipal park, it's the town that decides what happens in, because the town owns that park.
Yeah. So you couldn't set up in areas so that nobody could build on it because you want it to be a park because you don't have a zone for it.
Correct. No, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems a shame, maybe a little bit. When I think of the trails, it seems like maybe that should have been zoned park and rec because we had a zone for it, but it's still residential, but the trails is on a residential zoning area, which is
Well,
weird.
then that's something that maybe that needs to be looked at the
Yeah.
map to see whether that needs to be another designation. And hey, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
this
It's a big document.
This is a big document, and maybe there should be a proposal for another district.
Just a couple things that I
Yeah.
just thought about. Not, only because of so much controversy in a town next to us, little city next to us, about height of signs. The old zoning allows in I-1 a taller sign. So it looks like it's being proposed that the height of a sign in I-1, light industrial, if I'm saying it's I-1, is 8 feet. Why would we need or want to do that? Why is not 10 or 12 feet okay? Why 8? I'm just curious about that one because
No,
we do
that's-
have a citizen that has concerns.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think the committee can, well, you can talk. I'm not sure who else. No one else was on that committee.
One of the,
But-
like the signs, the big billboards out there by Casey's. Those are the kind of things that this was looking at. Yeah, gas station signs, some of the other business signs may be involved, but those big billboards out there under the new proposal would have never been built.
That's correct.
Well, I knew that was a concern almost 3 years ago. We had 3 big issues and you named 2 of them already. But if it seems like a business only being able to put up 8 feet, which is much taller than me. To me, there are some signs when I drive through that city, I can't see past because they're too low. So when I stop at that stop sign, if I want to look this way, there's something coming, I can't see past the daggone
Well,
sign.
that's
Seems
a-
like if the sign was a little higher,
That's a
it would have
good-
been better.
That's a good point.
Okay,
One of the things that, those go together. Not only is there a height requirement, but there's a setback requirement.
okay.
So if you can't see around something, then that ordinance in that community, might be talking
The
Vernon,
setback.
Johnson's Junction.
Yeah.
If you're talking about that, it's because that zoning ordinance doesn't have a setback for that sign.
So
Their new ordinance will have that.
my concern, and I don't know how this is gonna end up being, the area where there could be signs that are either light industrial on the north end of Geneva, we've got a curve, we've got a hill. We don't have a stop sign, we don't have a slope, anything on the highway. We've always had them check, because there's a lot of traffic there. You turn to go to EBC, you've got a gas station, you have Casey's, you have a grocery store, you have all these. And we have an Amish community that drives slower than cars. If the signs are low, it seems like would that inhibit more vision for people driving because they already have Amish buggies to look at for all these intersections that they don't jive together. They're not across the street from each other. And you got a curve and you got a hill that you can't always see above until you get far enough. I'm just concerned about our signs maybe in that area possibly
Studies,
being a problem.
Agnes, studies actually show that if you have different heights, you're taking your eyes off the road more than if everything's at the same level.
Well, it's 8 feet too
So,
low though.
Well,
That's my point.
that can be debated.
Okay,
But I think what you're talking about has more to do with setbacks than it has the height.
setbacks.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Since this is, the signage height was more of a concern based upon the billboards that we have in town.
That's part of it. That was part of the discussion.
Is there a way that we can tweak the ordinance so that maybe it's focused more towards the billboards? When I take the example that you gave of Johnson's Junction, and I think of the businesses out here, okay? And I would think that one particular business that gets very busy every weekend on the west side of the highway, if they were to put a sign up such as that, and it would have to be no more than 8 feet tall, and it was identical to what BP has, Johnson's Junction, there would be a lot of accident. There would be a lot of accident.
That would be a catastrophe. If you put signs that high there's no way. At Johnson's Junction, when I go there, I go to the back street and go to one lighter together because,
Yeah, and
If
the
I
pro-
get
the
hit-
problem there has to do with setbacks.
Which I get that, I
yeah,
understand.
but that's still, that's a very congested area all weekend long, especially on the weekend.
I agree.
So I don't agree with them signs being that height there at
Yeah,
all.
I
don't.
don't like that part. I just want to bring it up because like some of us on the council, we do have citizens ask us some questions and they're not here. I wrote it down.
And that's the reason for this meeting tonight, to address things like this, to look at some things that we may have overlooked or didn't look at correctly, that can get,
And that's
Correct.
why these suggestions and these comments are good, because this board is, I don't anticipate, I hope they don't take any action tonight. What they need to do is take these comments and chew on this some and they might make some changes. Because what happens is the proposed zoning ordinance has to originate here. And then it's in some form, it will be approved here and certified to council, and then council has to either accept it, reject it, or modify it. And if it modifies it, it has to come back to planning commission. So it really needs to be processed well here.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
glad people brought up questions.
Hey, can I ask on the signage issue? I agree with you. I think what Agnes was referring to had more to do with setbacks than height. But is there also something in there about square footage?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. What my suggestion is, listen to the comments here this month, and then really take time to digest this in the next month.
Yeah, as I said at the beginning of the meeting, tonight is just the very first step. We will come back and take these recommendations, concerns, look at everything, see if anything needs changed, and we'll come back for another.
The committee that met to come up with this, I've always heard that a camel is a horse designed by committee. Okay? Meaning that if a large committee tried to come up with this, it would have been a disaster.
Oh.
So we had to have a small group come up with a proposal, but then this is the committee or the board that has to own this. And so you need to make this what you want. You have the framework here. So if you go through this and you see things that you don't like, that you don't want to propose to the council, then this will be the time to do that.
And as a member of that committee, we got a lot of good input here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else? If not, I declare the hearing closed. We'll move on now to our regular business. We can have discussion amongst the commission members now if we desire. If not, we will move on. Do I have any questions or anything from the commission?
I would have, think a little bit of advice for the town. I know you emailed this to all of the commission members. You might want to just spend the money to print it out.
Be easier.
I've got 2 copies of it printed.
I mean, it's 300 pages, but it might make sense for
Easier to
digesting.
look at.
It'd be
It'd be
easier,
a lot
it'd be
easier to
easier
look
for
at.
them to look at. I tweaked it many times on my computer, but I keep going back to my hard copy.
Look at it on my.
It's just easier to highlight, it's easier to notation.
Something on that, we did have some people came up and Tina sent the digital so they could print. So we didn't have.
But the commission should have
Commission should have. Oh, yes.
have hard
Yeah.
copies.
Usually we do, anything that goes.
No, I'm talking about the commission should have hard copies.
I'll make sure that happens.
Yeah.
Any other comments? If not, let's move on. There's no old business. And there being no other business to come before the commission, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Arlen
Second.
and Kevin?
Yeah, that'll make it a whole lot easier.
There being no further business, we are adjourned.